think we're all about gathered here. On behalf of everyone behind me, our First Lady and our Attorney General and Congressman Wilson and the Mayor Greenville and our Speaker of the House and Secretary of this and that, we got everybody here. Caden. It is really a pleasure to have John back in South Carolina. He has got a challenge ahead of him. He is going to be our nominee, and it's going to be a tough race, but the Republican Party, I think, is lucky to have someone that appeals to a wide group of Americans that can compete, I think, in 50 states, who is well prepared for the job. I've never known anyone better prepared to be president than Senator McCain. On the commander-in-chief side, he's got credentials for the ages, and he has been someone who's tried to bring this country together, sometimes at his political detriment. So I'm excited about the campaign. Glad to have him back in South Carolina. And John, on election night this November, you're going to look at the results in South Carolina and be very pleased. So, ladies and gentlemen, my dear friend, the next President of the United States, John McCain.
Thank you very much, Lindsey, and thank you for all you do and your longtime friendship and support. I'm very sorry the governor is not here, but the brains of the Sanford family is. And Jenny, thank you. Thank you. Brains and charm of the Sanford family, actually. Thank you, Jenny. And may I just mention they have 4 wonderful sons, all of whom are just a joy to me. A pleasure to be around. And Cindy and I have been around since they were very small. Attorney General Henry McMaster, thank you for all you do, particularly in defense of the American family. Recently, Henry McMaster's task force arrested the 121st person who was preying on young people over the internet. Thank you for taking these people and keeping them away from the terrible damage they can inflict on families, South Carolina and America. Speaker Bobby Harrell, thank you for your continued leadership of our legislature and here in South Carolina and your wonderful support. Caden Dawson, our GOP chairman, Congressman Joe Wilson, whose family has served this country with distinction and honor for so long. Mark Hammond, our great Secretary of State, and our Converse Chellis, our State Treasurer, all are here, and we are here again to show that our Republican Party is united and energized. And I am also pleased to have the opportunity to return to this great state where I have so many wonderful memories, campaigning all over this state in a very diverse and growing state that is extremely well governed, and great pleasure it is for me to be back. Some of the dearest friends that I and my family have are here in this great state, and I appreciate the opportunity to have gotten to know so many wonderful people. I only want to make one additional comment on a different subject, and that is the escalation in the conflict in Lebanon. Hezbollah, with Syrian support and Iranian backing, is causing severe disruptions. Apparently there is fighting going on in Beirut. I think this is a result of several factors. One of them is that there was a kind of an inconclusive pause, not ending to the previous conflict, and a failure to implement a UN Security Council resolution calling for the disarmament of Hezbollah. Obviously that never happened. The Syrians are obviously playing a role and would like to reassert or increase their influence in Lebanon and its affairs. This challenge, I believe, should be condemned, and it obviously brings added threats over time if Hezbollah is successful and emboldened to orchestrate additional attacks or initiate new attacks on the state of Israel. It's a very serious situation. The Lebanese people deserve the same opportunities for freedom and democracy that all nations deserve, and we have to monitor this situation very carefully in a very explosive part of the world. With that, I'd like to answer the questions. Ed?
Follow up on your last statement.
Yeah.
What would you recommend to the Bush White House that the president ought to do about this situation?
Well, I think we obviously would seek the United Nations to be more heavily involved. As you know, there is a presence, not a terribly effective one, as you know, in southern Lebanon. We need to see what actions can be taken to perhaps improve the efficiency and capability of that force. I think that obviously pressures have to be brought to bear on Syria. It was the major motivator, I think, of a lot of their continued effort to gain control of Lebanon and continue the influence they've had for a long period of time. And I would recommend that we, of course, convene and work with other nations who have an interest in Lebanon and peace in the region. I also would hope that this conflict would not in any way spill over into renewed conflict on the Lebanese-Israeli border as well. It's a very serious situation. It calls for international concerted action to bring the situation under control. So I would immediately begin communications with the UN and then other nations that have interests in the region as well. Yes.
Senator, would you respond, please, to reports about your support of the land swap in Arizona that apparently benefited a contributor of yours?
Apparently that was wrong. I worked for a long period of time with mayors, with the environmental groups, with our other interested individuals for a long period of time, including having town hall meetings.